Morning, everybody. RV living with the geezer. Turn this air down a little bit where y'all can hear me. And I'm just riding around. Just coming back from Boyd. And want to get my, I've been talking about telling the history. Some of y'all wanted to hear the history of how I got into firefighting and a little bit about that. So we'll just start at the beginning, and I'll just do a little bit now and then until I get to the ending. So, and if I see anything interesting along the way, I'll show it to you. Here's the back entrance to that big 600 home subdivision they're putting in up here. I don't know if they're ready for it with the way the city water is, but anyway, I'm doing this on these back roads, so if somebody pulls up behind me in a big hurry, which there's a lot of people in a hurry up here, I can just sort of pull over and let them zoom on by. But anyway, yeah, the way I got started, it was back in 1973, back in the Stone Ages. And I was working at a school, but it was like a school of philosophy that my uncle had started. Actually, it was a school he taught like positive thinking. And I'll get into that someday if y'all want to hear about it. But anyway, I was working out there. I'd been working out there for several years, since I was about 14. In 73, I was 23. Of course, I'd been going to college and all that. I was working full time then for them. It was sort of a dead end job. It was I was doing maintenance, but there wasn't much of a future in it. So anyway, enough said about that. It was out in Leon Springs, and there was a fire. Here I go, I gotta pull over. This story might get interrupted a lot before I'm done. The way people drive up here. There he goes, old big boy in his pickup. But there was a fire out there, and a little girl lost her life in the fire. And Leon Springs was out in the county, and Bear County, and they didn't have a fire department. The closest fire department was like Helotes, and it was like, by the time the firemen got there, it's like 30-minute response time to get over to where that house fire was. Way, way, way too long. So, how it happens, a group gets, after there's a tragedy like that, something gets done, which is sad. But a group got together and they formed, they're going to have a meeting about forming their own fire department. So a friend of mine was going to go, and he asked me if I'd want to go with them, and I said yeah. And I never thought about fire department at all, before. And so I said sure. So I went down there, and make a really long story short, we formed that night they incorporated the Leon Springs Volunteer Fire Department, which is really grown now. I mean, they've got everything they need now out there. But anyway, we had a 69 square mile area that we covered, and of course we had mutual aid with the surrounding fire departments. But we started with a little 4x4 brush truck that a fire department in San Antonio gave us. The Balcones Heights gave it to us. And we started with that, and of all things, we bought we raised some money. We had a barbecue immediately and a fundraiser. That's the way we raised our money back then. And we raised enough money to buy a used of all things, a used gasoline tanker. And of course, we had the tank all sandblasted and cleaned out. And there was only 8 of us that were on the fire department to begin in the first couple of years. And then we picked up a few more. But we had that gas tanker and as a water truck. So we had those two trucks. And like I say, the only way we made money back then was barbecues, and the Bexar County gave each volunteer fire department the whopping sum. Now bear in mind, this is back in '73, the sum of $250 a month. And that was for gas and maintenance. And can you imagine now what that would be? The gasoline alone for those fire trucks. But we got by. A lady, her name was Mrs. Dick. She had an old barn up on her place, and she let us park the fire trucks in her barn up there. So when we got a call, we'd have to run up there and get the trucks and come down off Miss Dick's ranch. And it wasn't very centrally located, but at least our response time was way better than what it was before. We carried these big old boxes. They were called plectrons, and that's the way we would get our alarms. I remember carrying that thing. It was like 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, maybe 4 inches thick, had an antenna on it. I remember carrying that thing everywhere I went. I'd carry it into the grocery store and put it in the basket just so I wouldn't miss an alarm. So anyway, that and then everything progressed. You know, we did barbecues every year as fundraisers and all sorts of stuff. But let's see, it's like the road blocked up here. FedEx. It's been a wreck. Looks like, what is this? Somebody must have run off the road on a motorcycle. I'm gonna pause it, guys, see if they need any help. Oh wow, yeah, old boy run his motorcycle. I guess he run it into the bar ditch there. And I stopped and asked, they had plenty of help. They were 4 guys there already helping him get his bike out of the ditch. I asked them if they needed any help. Everything's under control. So let's see. So yeah, we had we had quite a few calls out there, we covered, you know, right at 70 square miles. So they kept us busy. And like I say, we picked up some more people. And then a fella donated some land to us. It was right at the entrance to a mobile home park where some of our firefighters lived. And another company, people donated they made some nice donations. And we were able to put a metal building up for our first fire station. And yeah, that was the good old days. And I was on that fire department even when I was I went into paid fire department in 1977, but the volunteer department is what stimulated my interest in becoming a fireman. And I'll get into all that other stuff in other videos. So I don't want to string it out too long, but yeah, out there at Leon Springs, we had some of the fires, we had an 8,000 gallon gasoline tanker turn over out on IH-10 and explode. I remember that was a pretty good one. We had lots of house fires and a whole lot of grass and brush fires. It was all, back then that area wasn't built up. It was all ranch country and farming country. Yeah, we had a lot of grass fires. But anyway, that's about what else on Leon Springs. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just make this the first episode. But of course, I got the FedEx guy right on my bumper now. They are always in a hurry. So maybe he'll stop and make a delivery here pretty quick. But yeah, that was the Leon Springs Fire Department. And like I say, they passed a bill, quite a few years back, that formed in Texas, it formed emergency service districts. And what they do, they take a very small percentage and put it on your property taxes. So it's hardly noticeable, actually, on the property taxes. Of course, I'll get some comments on that, and some of them will want to argue and say, you know, but whatever. But yeah, but it has created, each fire department has just done, it's improved each one like 100,000% over what they had before. I mean, it's amazing the equipment they have now, and plus they make enough off the that small percentage on the property taxes. A whole lot of them have paid firefighters now, which makes a world of difference. Not that a paid firefighter is any better than a volunteer. I was a volunteer the whole time. I was up until, from 1973, I was on the Leon Springs Fire Department till like the mid 1990s. I guess over 20 years. And then I finally sort of gave that up and just kept on doing the paid stuff till 2002. I was, yeah, the ESDs have helped immensely with the volunteers. So, but I tell you, this country in Texas is blessed with the volunteer fire departments. They, without them, they'd be in a world of hurt. Those people go out and give many, many, many hours. And the thing about when we first started, this is the last thing I want to talk about. Well, I forgot to mention. We had, out of the 8 guys we had, and I say guys, we had one lady with us, Dolly Owens. She's since passed, but everybody could do something. We had plumbers, we had electricians, so the trucks, we did all the labor ourselves converting that gas truck. We had a plumber, and so we bought an auxiliary pump for it, and he did all the plumbing on it, with our help. He'd just tell us, we were his grunts, he'd tell us what to do. And I mean, he was a good plumber too. It didn't take us any time to get that truck going with him. And but we did, in the fire station, it was just a metal building. It was a shell, and then we went in and framed. We had carpenters, and we went in and got all the framing done and all that on it, and again, he did all his nickname, the plumber's nickname is Tadpole. Old Tadpole, yeah. Tadpole, roughed in did all the plumbing on the building, and we had another guy that was an electrician. Yeah. Oh, and okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's the end of my Leon Springs story. But before I forget, I want to thank Wayman Samang sent me a gift on my Venmo account that's what we're driving on right now. So thank you, Wayman. That's the fella that Rusty calls beer and bacon. Because when Wayman went and visited Rusty here, it's been a while now, he brought him some beer and some bacon. So that caught old Rusty's attention. But yeah, guys, I don't know how long this has been. We've made the full loop here. I'm just about back to the house, so we'll just let it run till we get on back. And I apologize if I've been talking, and sometimes I don't concentrate on where I'm pointing the camera. So I'll rewatch this and see how many times that y'all were just having to look at a dashboard or something. I hope not too much. But, this old boy right here, he's got a lot of equipment that sits in his yard, I tell you. Look at those dump trucks. He's in some type of construction business, I guess. Yeah, a couple of pretty horses across the street from us. They found that shade right there. Back up here and get my truck parked under my shade tree, and I'll be home for the day. My son took the two younger ones. The oldest girl, Lexi, is with her grandma, Linda, in Elgin, and my son took the two younger ones to breakfast this morning. We got a good breakfast place here called Cowboys. If you're ever in Boyd, go to Cowboys and eat good stuff. All right, guys, I hope this didn't run too long. For the two of you that are still with me, have a great day. Peace to y'all. Stay blessed, guys, and stay positive. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.